Well, yesterday I was, for the fun of it, checking the temperature in my homeland, Denmark, and they had temperatures in midsummer in the lower 50s, and I thought that was unusual. And yesterday my wife showed me a picture from Holland that they had had a storm there with hail the size of grapefruits. That's a considerable size of hail. I mean, it takes a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere or updraft in order to create such big hails. And normally in Europe we are not plagued by massive storms such as United States of America, as an example, is, and lately. So to me that was kind of unprecedented that Europe, Northern Europe, is in autumn temperatures, because the temperature in Europe, Northern Europe, Scandinavia area, around this time of year in daytime should be around 75. And yesterday we were in the lower 50s, and that's just unnatural. What's unnatural too is these pictures that you are watching here. They're just a little, what do you call it, collage of pictures I have been taking since springtime and up to this day. And nothing is out of the ordinary, if you get my point. This is something that now we are used to watch, that our sky is milky white, our blue sky is baby blue, not deep blue. Some places here in America where they're not spraying so much, where the atmosphere is not so saturated, we still have the experience of a deep blue sky, as those of us who are in a considerable age. Me, I'm 48, and I remember growing up to a deep blue sky. And after I came over to America in 2008, I'm born in 68, I have noticed a considerable change in our skies and the colors. And I have in several videos explained to you how they, with the chemtrails and with the frequencies, the so-called cell phone towers that is standing all over America, how they can change the colors in our sky or emulate something which is not there. Oh, I was asked to cover the Mandela effect. Well, I think if I want to speak to it, and I will only do that once because I'm not so much into it. I haven't been looking too much into it, and honestly I have other things on my mind that something like that. But the Mandela effect is actually something which I would say is a self-suggestion, or it could be a mind-controlled input in your brain, that people are believing something is real but it's not. So that's pretty much what it covers. That is, that people believe that it is real, but reality is it is not real. Why it has been dubbed the Mandela effect, I honestly don't know. I don't really want to associate myself with the name of Mandela, that everybody has made into such a hero for liberty in South Africa, and nothing could be further from the truth. The reason for why he was in jail was because he was a murderer and a terrorist. And then he came out of prison as a communist, and he became the hero for the Western world of freedom and prosperity and freedom of black people in South America, which have been under Dutch Holland rule for the last 300 years. Well, slavery is wrong, oppression is wrong. So in that regard, it was good that South Africa got rid of this so-called apartheid. But let's not glorify Mandela, because he was nothing but a murderer. So I pretty much said what I think about the Mandela effect. The reason for why this new theory or diagnose of a mental state has arisen is probably, and I would say certainly, mark my word, I said certainly because I'm convinced that it is so. That is, that these cell phone towers that we are seeing shooting up everywhere, and more now, are sending out frequencies that is reaching our brain, because they know how to reach our brain. They know how to put images and sounds and voices into our minds that don't belong to us or to any other spirit, but they are coming from an electronic device in order to mass cultivate the populace of each nation into what I would believe is the New World Order mindset, that everybody thinks the same and feels the same. And that's why everybody will worship the beast when the beast arises, because that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how it is prophesied. It doesn't describe in the Bible that some devices are doing that. It's just described that everybody will worship the beast, and everybody will take his mark. And I would say that that is because of a gradual mind control from electronic devices that is standing in our landscape. Because in reality, we don't need to have some 20 towers standing around, as an example of Indianapolis, Indiana. But they have to mind control us and steer us in a certain direction. So by implementation, we will not see the gradual transition into a nightmarish regime or way of life here on Earth. But that's actually what's going on. And it's terrible to think about that it's even being allowed that something like this is going on. But it is, and it is being allowed because we're being tested in our strength, our spiritual strength, whether to capitulate or fight it with all our heart and with all our soul, that we are the children of God, that we are not just an evolution over millions of years, which the scientists are trying to put into our heads, which is not the truth. So these things that is going on is definitely being put into our minds with the help of these cell phone towers. A cell phone tower or an antenna have a range of approximately 250 miles to relay and transfer a signal from one place to another. So why does it call for these thousands of Gwen towers, which I call them, to appear all over the place? Pretty much mind control. The chemtrails, which you're looking at here in the vast majority of the pictures, because this has something to do with the chemtrails too, that is, they're spraying these metals into the atmosphere. I'm gonna see that yeah, I have to keep an eye on my time, but nevertheless these metals are being used as a reflector. One thing is the geoengineer says that they are using it for solar management, so that the Earth is not being bombarded and heated up, meaning global warming. They're trying to fight global warming, but they can't fight global warming because the global warming is something internal that is happening in our planet due to the presence of another object up in the sky. An object that we have been talking about for a long time, that is being debunked and being proven, and I even got a picture of the thing myself, and I could see it with the naked eye, and it was a picture I took recently in Denton. There was something behind the sun. I would say it is our Lord, which is getting ready for the tribulation, the time of trouble. But one thing is that chemtrails are serving as a solar management to shield the planet from the sun's rays. That could be somewhat the truth, because radiation from the sun has skyrocketed over the last couple of years. Actually, it's tripled. So we are getting much more radiation in from the sun and supposedly from cosmos, due to a breakdown of our ozone layer. But the problem is that the aluminum oxide and barium that they're spraying in our atmosphere are breaking down our ozone layer, so it kind of defeats the purpose. And another thing that also defeats the purpose, that is that they're saying that they want to reflect the sunlight away from the planet in order to cool the planet. But it has a negative effect too. That is because they're saturating our atmosphere. As you see in this picture, it's totally saturated. Look at the hue around the sun there. That's a clear evidence that we have a lot of particulates floating, and you can see the backdrop. We are having that floating in our atmosphere. So the heat that wants to escape naturally from Earth up into the atmosphere and cooling us off is actually being radiated back because of the metal particulates. They are radiating it back. You can kind of call it like a mylar. You know mylar, this heat reflective material that is used in space aeronautics. It's also used for as a heat protector for people that walk down to volcanoes that are active, or in certain plants where they are melting metals, making alloys where the temperature is extreme high. So they are having this silver suit on, which is made of mylar. So they are actually making a so-called mylar carpet over our planet, which in return will reflect the heat back to us and heating us up even further, meaning the heat cannot escape naturally any longer. So it defeats the purpose of fighting global warming, all this spraying. So that's why I'm saying that this global spraying has something to do with that they are hiding that God's presence is here, that Nibiru is here. I believe that the Nibiru has nothing to do with the fallen angels. I am more in the belief that that is the presence of our Lord, that the time has come for judgment of people of this planet, because we have gone so astray that, yeah, it's been prophesied. You can just go read Luke 21, you can read Matthew 24, you can read in Isaiah, Ezekiel, and in Daniel. They are all speaking of the same time that is coming right now, what we're living in right now. There's no escape from that.